Hello, everybody, and welcome to the very first episode of The Subliminal Show. Today, we will be sitting down with Ethan, also known as TheOdds, over on YouTube. The purpose of The Subliminal Show is to be able to sit down with our guests, be able to have a healthy and positive conversation that include some of the topics of video games in and of themselves, but also just general life, what they find enjoyable, where they find their strength and motivation from. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoy the show. And our very first lucky guest that has been willing to be part of this crazy project with me is Ethan from TheOdds. He currently runs a YouTube channel and has primarily does Minecraft videos. Is that correct?
More or less at the moment, yeah.
Yeah, and so what are some other things that you do over there at TheOdds?
Well, run is kind of a strong word, but yeah, it's just a little hobby that me and my friends put together. Fun memories that we have of the games we play. We do things, record stuff that actually seems entertaining. Actually, has highlights of the games that we play. But yeah, we went and played Minecraft for like a good year or so. Still working through all that content. But we've done other stuff like we played The Escapist. We've done Gmod, speedrunners. It's just whatever tickles our fancy.
Yeah, so it really is kind of this highlight of the community that you formed around these different games that you've been able to record and are now just uploading it to the wonderful world of YouTube. I will provide a link for those who
Good.
are
You
worried
better.
about not finding it. Of course I will. And then also recently you started an Instagram page. Is that correct?
I sure did.
How about that? So you should go give them a follow. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started into this game. So we are playing Stardew Valley today. All right, my name is Scrappy. This, of course, is the Subliminal Farm. My favorite thing is pizza. All right, so let's go ahead and get started clearing this area as we start a new parsnip farm. We'll just start off with what are some of your favorite games to play? Either it's the genre or specific games.
I've got a weird taste when it comes to kind of stuff like that. Like for music and for games, I don't have anything where I'm like, "Ooh, yeah, that's the genre I like. That's what I'm going to gravitate towards." It's more so just like, "Oh yeah, this works with me. I'm going to play this."
Okay, so it's not really one specific. You couldn't even like narrow it down.
No, like if you were to look at
genre.
my Steam library, you would look at it and you would see just all sorts of different games.
So if you had to put, specific like, oh, these are my top 3 video games, or these are my top 3 board games. Do you have one? Do you have some that you could
For
put there?
board games and stuff like that, probably not, because I feel like a lot of that just depends on the people that you're playing with, kind of what the group is feeling, what the kind of vibe is, because I think that depends a lot. Because if people aren't feeling the game that you're playing, then it's not going to be good. It's not going to be fun. So, but for video games, one of the ones that I've definitely enjoyed the most is like No Man's Sky, because to me that's just a great mix of a bunch of different things. There's 2 other games that I really like, Round the Mad God and a VR game called Rec Room. 2 games that to me are just like, oh, perfect. I could spend the rest of my life playing this. I have vowed to not play either of those games anymore because I very much got into the rut of just sitting there and just playing those games. And so I'm like, okay, yes, I'm having fun playing this game, but it's also then inhibiting other areas of my life. So I'm like, I'm just going to cut this out because I see other things as more important than having fun in a video game. I also got very involved in the community of the game, and I was an active member, especially with Rec Room. I started to reach a level of quote-unquote fame within the community as I was doing speed runs. And so like I got to hang with some of the developers and some of the other like top players, and I just got to met them. And so to me, that was just so fun because it was evolving to more than just a game. It was
Yeah.
also socialization, and it was me actually being able to make connections and like
Yeah.
meet people. And so that's why that one was specifically hard to put down, because it was becoming more than just a game. It was becoming part of more of the core part of my life. And so I had to sit down and think of, okay, what are my priorities and what do I actually want to accomplish? What if I were to lay on my deathbed and I would be looking back at my life, would I see all this time that I spent playing this game as productive and actually worthwhile in a long scheme of things? And so that just kind of helps reground yourself and just kind of focus in on what actually matters.
Yeah, I think that's always such a very interesting topic to talk about, is how, again, it doesn't necessarily only apply to video games or just board games in general. Like there's a lot of things that we do that take up a lot of our time. And I think an argument that a lot of people make towards video games is, oh, it's just, you're spending so much time in a virtual world. And like you had said, like, oh, I just spent, 30, 60 minutes on this one mission or project, and because I failed it, I have to do it all over again. And I have to do all those 60 minutes over again. So when you were kind of talking about your different games that you play, you mentioned a lot of groups that you play with. And then also your YouTube channel in and of itself is of you playing with your friends. So across the board, do you prefer to play with others or more by yourself?
Again, I think it's just it's the mix. I like having the variety. If I only play games with people, either if it's just with friends or with just people online, I can definitely get tired of that and then want to do something different. But if I play games by myself too long, that can also get repetitive, and I want to actually do something that's a little bit more sociable. When you play a socially active game, either with random people or with people it definitely fulfills that aspect of social life that is needed in order to maintain good mental health.
So kind of heading back to the overall game conversation, and you talked a little bit about this before, just talking about kind of the benefits to games, and you said a lot of it has to do with kind of socially things that you've been able to focus with, as well as be able to develop some of those skills that helped you. Again, I don't necessarily like the term in the real world, because engaging with people through video games is the real world. Yes, you're engaging in a virtual space, but you physically are engaging, and you're being impacted and shaped, as you've kind of been a testimony to.
If you were to think about educational games, one of the downsides is that everyone's learning styles are different, because some people learn better by doing, some people learn better by seeing. And so it depends. So an educational game that may have helped somebody learn how to do addition may work great for that person, but for their friend, it may not work at all, because their friend needs somebody to more explain it to them, or they need to learn through trial and error. And the game is just kind of just telling them, or more so just giving them instruction of, you take this and you add this here and whatnot. And so if you were to try and do the same thing for mental health, you may have a game that helps a character grow and at the same time then help the player grow. And it may work for some individuals, but at the same time, it may not work, and it may even cause harm for a different person, just because of the way that they tailor information and how they learn things and how they adapt to the situations around them. So it's a very tricky subject, I would think. But is it possible? Yes.
And you talked a little bit about this before. You think, you said you may fit into almost all three of these, but you either have achievement motivation, social motivation, and immersion motivation. Which one do you
I
see yourself in?
see it
primarily?
again as ever changing, but I think that is more tailored toward the kind of game that I'm playing. So when I've played Skyrim, to me that is all immersion focused. When I play that, I want to try and put myself as much as possible in the shoes, and when I play it, that's what draws me in. Is the oh yeah, I want to go back and I want to experience being a dragonborn and fighting dragons and all this stuff. But for other games, such as this, and this has a lot of hidden Easter eggs and working on achievements and goals, I definitely can fit into that category for this game. But in games of like Rec Room around the Mad God, it can be different. So again, is my ever-changing appeal to games and what makes me motivated, I think, is just more dependent on the game itself. Because I may get into a game for a reason, but what keeps me there and what keeps me playing it changes from game to game.
And I think that's kind of been the theme of our whole conversation, is that it's okay to enjoy the things that we enjoy, whether it's video games or working out, or even if we enjoy looking good. Like, I don't think that in and of itself is bad. It's just when we become obsessed with it and it consumes us to a point of that's the only thing that matters. And we need to, as you've said, maintain this attitude of, these things are important to me, but what other things am I giving up in order to maintain this thing that I enjoy?
Being able to stop, slow down, process things, think about things, and not let the world or the rush of things define the way that you're thinking and that you're processing and the way that you are. You want to be able to stop, to spend an evening, if that just means, maybe going on a hike outdoors and being able to be involved in nature and that form of relaxation, or if it's just sitting on a couch and it's just thinking and just staring out the window. It could be meditation. Whatever, you need to be able to have something where you can slow down and do nothing but think. Think about your situation, think about what's happening. But that is what is important to me for maintaining balance and structure, is being able to slow down, look at things, and just be like, okay, this is the way that things are, but let's think about whatever it is that may be causing issues, that may be affecting portions of your life. But it's good and important to slow down and just process. Because if you don't, then depending on what it is, it could just become the grind. It could be the pursuit of pleasure. It could become the pursuit of purpose. It could be anything just becomes the focus and goal of your life. But if you're able to stop, slow down, and just be like, okay, as we're standing here, as people may or may not be able to see, just standing here underneath the outing of our house, just looking out in the rain and just having that moment of just, okay, let's slow down, let's think about this. And being able to do that, depending on where you are in life, it may need to be a daily thing. It may need to be something like, okay, let's stop and think about this. And this relates back to grounding, of being able to ground yourself back into reality and into objectiveness. Is this slowing down thing? It could be a daily thing. It could be a weekly thing. For some people, they may be living a very healthy, holistic lifestyle, but just once a month, they just need to be like, okay, let's think about this. Let's reanalyze our goals, everything, and just sit and think. But it is a very key aspect of being able to live a balanced and fulfilling lifestyle.
Isn't that why we're all here? Have a good time, enjoy the life that we've been given, really. Be able to have fun, whether it's virtually, outside, or hanging out with friends. Thank you for joining us, and thank you again, Ethan, for being our first guest, hopefully of many to come. And who knows, maybe we'll have you back.
It'll be fun.